The wind howled across the prairie like a morning spirit, bending tall grass and rattling the dying embers of a once peaceful settler camp. Smoke rose in lazy spirals toward the bruised sky, the scent of burnt wood and flesh hanging heavy in the air. What remained of the wagons were scattered pieces, shattered wheels, splintered beams, and scorched canvas flapping limply in the breeze. A child's quiet sobbing cut through the eerie silence. 8-year-old Eliza Carter crouched behind a toppled water barrel, her dress torn, her cheeks smudged with soot and tears. Her pale blue eyes darted through the wreckage, searching for the faces she would never see again. Her father's rifle lay broken near the fire pit, and beside it, her mother's shawl was caught on a jagged wagon spoke, flapping like a white flag that had come too late. She clutched a small, worn locket to her chest, her only connection now to the family that had tried to carve a home out of the unforgiving land. Her breath came in shallow gasps, and each creak of timber or distant hoofbeat sent a jolt through her tiny frame. The world had collapsed into fear and smoke. Beyond the tree line, a tall figure emerged from the dusk. He moved with the silent grace of a mountain cat, his shoulders broad, his face marked with age and strength. Chief Nawakta of the Cheyenne, wrapped in a mantle of wolf fur, stepped forward, the beads on his chestpiece catching the fading light. His dark eyes scanned the ruins with quiet understanding. He had seen the smoke from his camp and ridden with 2 scouts to investigate, fearing the worst. Now, as he walked through the carnage, his face showed no anger, only a deep, sorrowful weariness. This was not the work of his people. This was something crueler. Deserters, outlaws, white men who lived without honor. A movement behind the barrel caught his eye. He stopped, raising one hand to signal silence to the warriors behind him. Slowly, deliberately, he approached the source of the sound. There, hunched and shaking, was Eliza. She stared at him, wide-eyed and frozen. Her small hands tightened around the locket as if it might shield her from the towering figure before her. The stories her parents had told her came rushing back, tales of scalpings, of war cries in the night, of children stolen away. Her body stiffened with panic. But Nawakta made no sudden move. Instead, he knelt in the ashen dust, laying his bow and knife beside him as a sign of peace. His voice, deep and steady, broke the silence. "You are safe now," he said in careful English, the words slow, deliberate, and heavy with sincerity. "No more harm will come." Eliza did not answer. Her breath hitched. Her legs were too numb to run, her mind too full of loss to speak. But something in his voice, calm, warm, human, reached through the smoke and fear. She blinked at him, unsure. He reached into a pouch at his belt and pulled out a small piece of dried fruit, setting it gently on the ground between them before backing away a step. Not a threat, not a captor, just a man, one who had seen too much death, and now offered a fragile moment of mercy. The wind shifted, carrying away some of the smoke. The fire hissed and cracked behind them, but for the first time, Eliza felt something stir beneath the weight of terror, a sliver of trust, sharp and unexpected. Chief Nawakta waited. He did not speak again. He simply stood nearby, watchful and still, as the sun dipped below the horizon, and the long night of survival began. The moon rose high above the plains, casting silver light across the Cheyenne camp nestled beside the slow-moving river. The stars glittered like scattered seeds in the dark bowl of the sky. In the soft glow of firelight, Eliza Carter sat beside an older Cheyenne woman, learning how to grind dried berries into paste. Her hands were steadier now, her face no longer hollow with grief. The girl who had once shivered in the ashes of a settler camp was changing. Her hair, once in neat settler braids, now flowed loose and wild, sun-bleached at the tips. She spoke with a lilt that mimicked the children she played with, her English laced with Cheyenne words. Though still pale among her adoptive people, she moved through the camp with a confidence that surprised even the elders. She ran barefoot, raced ponies, helped tan hides, and listened with fascination to stories told by the old ones around the fires. Chief Nawakta often watched her from a quiet distance, arms crossed over his chest, lips curved into the faintest smile. He had taken her under his protection with no expectations, but something in the child, her grit, her spirit, had stirred something long dormant in him. He taught her to read the land, to spot wolf tracks, to understand the language of storms. Though he had no children of his own, the bond that grew between them was no less real. In her laughter, he heard echoes of what peace might sound like. But not all hearts were open. Whispers followed Eliza like a trailing wind. Around the sacred fire one evening, the council of elders gathered. The stars were hidden behind thick clouds, and the air felt heavy. Some among them had grown uneasy. One elder, his face painted with the lines of many winters, spoke first. "She is not one of us. She was born of those who take our land. She is a seed of sorrow." Others nodded. "If the soldiers find her with us, they will blame us for her fate. We invite trouble. We invite war." Chief Nawakta listened in silence, his fingers idly tracing the carved bone beads around his neck. When all had spoken, he rose and stood tall before them. The fire lit his face in flickering gold, the shadows dancing across his features like spirit paint. "She came to us with nothing," he said. "No family, no name beyond her own. The ones who burned her camp were not Cheyenne. They were men without honor. White men, yes, but not her people. That fire made her orphan not just to her kind, but to the world." He turned slowly, letting his gaze meet each elder in turn. "She plays with our children, eats from our fire. She learns our ways with a full heart. What more must she do to prove herself?" Silence fell. The fire popped, sending sparks into the sky. One by one, the elders dropped their eyes in thought. Then, the oldest woman, whose husband had died at Sand Creek, spoke. Perhaps the Great Spirit sent her not to be pitied, she said, but to remind us who we are meant to be. There was no vote, no need. The mood had shifted. Seasons passed. Eliza grew taller, her limbs strong and agile from riding and climbing. She came to call Chief Nawakta father, in Cheyenne. In time, other tribes heard the story, a settler girl, saved by a warrior chief, growing up as one of their own. The tale rippled out like a stone in water, changing how some thought of enemy and ally. One morning, as the dew still clung to the grass and the world glistened in the first light of day, Eliza rode beside Nawakta across the wide, open prairie. They spoke little, the rhythm of their horses and the singing birds filling the silence between them. She looked up at him with quiet pride. Do you think they will ever stop fearing us? She asked. He looked out at the horizon where land met sky. Not all, but some will remember this story. And maybe their children will remember better. And so they rode on, an orphan settler girl and a Cheyenne chief, united not by blood, but by choice. Survivors of a cruel world, remaking it with every hoofbeat across the land.